Webster defines crunch time as a critical moment or period, like the end of a game, when decisive action is needed. Every sports fan knows this time in the game. Your palms sweat just a little more, your heart races just a little bit faster, and you live and die with every play until the final seconds tick off the clock and you're either celebrating a victory or disappointed by the defeat. The team at Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network understands just how critical these moments are. For us, it begins as soon as the next set of games are on the board. We evaluate the opening lines and any breaking news throughout the week. We cover each game inside and out, whether it's from inside the locker room to a huddle down on the field, the court, or the ice. We take you inside the meeting room with scouts, coaches, and executives. We have our fingers on the pulse of all the sports that we cover: the National Hockey League, NBA, college basketball, college football, and the National Football League. We are the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network, and we're here to help you find your sports advantage. After all the data has been crunched, we then turn it over to Kenneth for the best analysis around. His unique perspective in both understanding the data and how it applies to the game and how you win is the Crunch Time Sports Advantage. Are you ready? The Crunch Time Jet is fueled and ready for takeoff, and the Crunch Time Express is about to leave the station. Your VIP pass has been approved, so all aboard.
And welcome in, everyone, to a beautiful Monday evening here in my backyard. Didn't have to travel this week, thankfully. So, as Jessica just mentioned, great job with the lead in, as always. We have fresh data, folks, as we had some significant games being played over this past week. And with the release, if you're listening to this live on our YouTube or Twitter feed, thank you so much. If you're listening later on during the podcast, thank you as well. We have the first installment of the college football playoff rankings coming out on Tuesday night. We may do a live reaction show as that wraps up. Just will kind of depend on the schedule, as we're going to try to figure out which games we're going to tackle this week. So, as I mentioned, we had some significant results take place over this past week of college football that absolutely did shake our rankings up a little bit. As we go through the rankings, you'll see, if you were with us last week, that we're going to have 5 new teams that cracked the top 25 this week based on their performance, and some teams falling out of the top 25. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get right into it with number 25. And as you can see, coming in as they were not ranked in last week's polls is the men of Troy, Southern Cal University, off of that very solid win there on the road in the Central Time Zone, which Lincoln Riley has not been a proponent of getting that job done. But fantastic job there by that team getting the job done and really outscoring Nebraska in the second half. 15-3 was more than enough to get that victory taken care of. Uh, Quarterback Maava, not a great performance at all, but it was enough to get the job done. 9 for 23, 135 yards, did have the one INT, but like I said, here we measure victories, and USC keeping their playoff hopes alive by getting that win on the road against Nebraska. Checking in at number 24, we find the Pitt Panthers. Folks, another team that was not ranked, and they were a big-time mover, moving up 9 spots in our poll from last week, in just a phenomenal performance there by the Pitt Panthers. And folks, I would say watch out in the Atlantic Coast Conference, because the Pitt Panthers are not messing around. Got off to a rough start early in the season, but I would say have definitely been able to rectify that over the past few weeks with just another solid performance. And that's why we update these data points fresh each and every week. Going to the farm, making the trip completely across West Coast and getting the job done 35-20. And really, it was the middle 2 quarters where they absolutely separated themselves in this ball game, outscoring Stanford by a combined score of 28-3 in the second and third quarter. Fantastic job there by that team. And since they made the move at the quarterback position, this young man has just absolutely been hotter than fish grease right now. 304 yards in this contest, 3 touchdowns. That is how you keep your team absolutely alive. And watch out, like I said, Pitt Panthers not really messing around right now. Coming in at number 23, and the biggest disappointment of the weekend had to be the Miami Hurricanes. And as you can see, we're in our top 10 last week, barely hanging on to a top 25 spot as they check in this week at number 23, down 13 spots. And folks, we'll talk about that at the end of the show, but another disappointing performance by the Miami Hurricanes, losing that contest 26-20 in overtime to SMU. Player of the game, absolutely, Kevin Jennings, 29 for 44, 365 yards, had the 1 touchdown, and really played a lot of that game with a bad ankle, outdueled Carson Beck, and it was not even close in that contest. So fantastic job there by Kevin Jennings. Rhett Lashley doing a fantastic job there. As far as Miami, that's their second loss in conference. They have no chance of making the ACC conference championship game again. We'll see if their playoff hopes are still alive at this point. Checking in at number 23 is the Utah Utes. And folks, this game was over at the half against Cincinnati, 45-14. Went to the break up 24-7 and did not look back. The running back, Parker, fantastic game, 17 carries, 104 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Absolutely got this thing kicked off and rolling, and Utah did not mince words and absolutely laid waste to the Cincinnati Bearcats, keeping their Big 12 championship hopes alive with this win in this contest. Now, as you can see, moving up 6 spots as they were unranked last week, but hard to overlook the fantastic job that Coach Whittingham is continuing to do there with the Utah Utes. Out of the American Conference, and that's where we will find the North Texas Mean Green. And if I sound a little bit disappointed by that. They did get a big time win over the Navy midshipmen, 31-17. Took advantage of some questionable decisions there by Coach Newberry for Navy, and I'm going to give a plug to their running back Hawkins, 33 carries, 197 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Big time performance and a big time game. North Texas keeps their hopes to getting to the American Conference Championship game, now pushing their record to 8-1, 4-1 in conference play. The American Conference is absolutely loaded, and we are looking forward to a tight finish as we come down to the end of the season here. All right, checking in, and they were unranked last week. If you're watching this on your screen here, moving up 6 spots, getting inside of that top 25 for us. Checking in at number 20, also unranked last week. A team that we have been talking about for the last 3 or 4 years. Different coach, same result. The James Madison Dukes, up 6 spots this week. We're just outside of the top 25. They come in fresh and jump into the top 25, checking in at number 20. Fresh off of a Tuesday night absolute beatdown, going to Texas State and absolutely wasting no time. 52-20. This game was close going into halftime. James Madison was up 28-20, but outscored Texas State in the second half, 24-rip. That is how you close out a game, and that is how you take care of business. So fantastic job there by Coach Chesney and his team there. And what can we say about Bennett III? Got it done in every single facet there for James Madison. 12 for 18, 264 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, 10 rushing attempts, 98 yards, another touchdown on the ground. So 5 total touchdowns, over 350 yards of total offense there. Absolutely phenomenal job. I got a chance to watch this game, and James Madison absolutely looked phenomenal in this contest. Checking in at number 19 out of the American Conference, it is the Memphis Tigers. And Memphis also getting a road win in conference as they traveled down to Rice and took care of business 38-14. Memphis runs their record to 8-1, 4-1 in conference play, keeping their hopes alive for getting to the American Conference Championship game. B. Lewis, absolutely phenomenal performance once again by that young quarterback. 18 for 22, 225 yards passing, also 12 carries, 87 yards, did have a rushing touchdown. Memphis absolutely had this game well in hand going into the half, up 31-7, and really did not look back as they cruised in the second half. Up 6 spots from last week as they were at number 25, continuing to do a phenomenal job. There is the Memphis Tigers, a team absolutely to keep an eye on as we start to round into the home stretch now, because November is truly what we are all going to remember. Checking in at number 18 is the Michigan Wolverines. And James MK, always good to see you guys. Michigan runs their record to 7-2, but 5-1 in conference play because that their other loss came out of conference to Oklahoma early in the season. A game that was a lot tighter than what it should have been based on the betting odds there. Michigan holds on to get a 21-16 win, but at this point of the season, pretty wins, not as much as getting the W's. And Michigan, credit to them for getting the win And that is really all that matters at this point. So phenomenal job there by the Wolverines in taking care of business, 21-16. I'm going to give a quick plug for their running back, Marshall. Without his running mate, Justice Haynes, who is going to be out for quite a while with that foot injury, just had surgery on it. 25 carries, 185 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's how you pick up the slack for your missing running mate there in the backfield. Marshall, fantastic job. And you are helping your Wolverines continue on. Up 6 spots this week from 24 to number 18 is the Michigan Wolverines. Checking in at number 17 and down 7 spots, we find the Missouri Tigers. And Missouri, if I look at that correctly, I think Missouri was on the bye this week. So again, your team absolutely can move up or move down, even if they're on a bye week. So Missouri was on their bye week as 2 weekends ago. They did lose on the road to Vanderbilt. So their next contest coming up this weekend as they will host the Texas A&M Aggies in a very important game to their playoff future. So what caused Missouri to drop 6 spots? The performance of some teams in front of them benefiting from some victories and some additional strength of schedule points. So that's why Missouri down 6 spots from last week. One of those teams that jumped up from the number 20 spot is the Louisville Cardinal. And Louisville got off to a very sluggish start there in Blacksburg, Virginia, as they were taking on the Virginia Tech Hokies, but was able to, in the second half, outscore Virginia Tech 21-0 and get a much-needed victory there for Louisville. 7-1 on the season, 4-1 in conference play. They'll keep their hopes alive there. Moss, quarterback, 19 for 28, 136 through the air, did have the 1 touchdown, just did well enough for them to get the victory. And we're going to stay in the Atlantic Coast Conference as number 15 is the Virginia Cavaliers. You can call them lucky, you can call them carrying a rabbit's foot, but whatever it is, they continue to win ball games, unlike some other teams. 8-1 overall, 5-0 in conference play. Folks, Tony Elliott, coach of the year. Let's go ahead and shut it down. For what that coach has led this program through, as I talked about it, a year or so ago, losing 3 of his players, horrific as they were murdered by one of their former teammates. And the university sticking by him, definitely on the hot seat this year, but I think firmly off of that hot seat this year. Chandler Morris, quarterback for Virginia, 24 for 36, 262 yards passing. Just a phenomenal job there for the Virginia Cavaliers. Checking in at number 14, down 1 spot this week is the Oregon Ducks. And I want to say a quick hello to my good friend, Coach Meg, her and her beautiful daughter. Always love seeing you guys on socials. Oregon still sitting in a pretty solid spot with that 7-1 record. That 1 loss coming to America's team, the Indiana Hoosiers. They're in Autzen Stadium. They have another big contest coming up this week as they're off their bye week. They will travel to Iowa City to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Good chance we're going to be breaking that game down on the big show this week. Checking in at number 13, my good friend Irish Bill, your Notre Dame Fighting Irish, off of their bye. And Notre Dame 7-1. Notre Dame 6-2 on the season as they lost two contests right out of the gate, the A&M and Miami. Notre Dame, their responsibility is simple: win or go home for the rest of the year, as you don't have a conference championship game to fall back on. Notre Dame up 3 spots, and that had a lot to do with Texas A&M continuing to win, really kind of boosting up that strength of schedule for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Let's go ahead and jump into the top 12 here. Checking in at number 12, staying steady at number 12 is the Oklahoma Sooners. Mama Deb, all of our good friends, Janet, everybody there that loves the Oklahoma Sooners, 33-27 in a game where if Oklahoma takes advantage of turnovers a lot better, the margin of victory looked a little bit better in this contest. Credit Tennessee for fighting back in the second half, but just could not overcome multiple turnovers in that ball game. If I pull up the stat line here, Tennessee 3 turnovers, 1 Oklahoma scored on an R. Mason scoop and score, and then the other 2 they were able to convert field goals off of. So Joey Aguilar, solid game, but with 3 turnovers, hard to win. Player of the game for us is not the running back. The player of the game for us in this contest is kicker Tate Sindel. 4 for 4 on field goal attempts, 2 of them over 50 yards and 1 just inside of 50. So it took all three of those long kicks and his other one that was inside of 40 for Oklahoma to eke out a victory in this contest. But folks, like I said, no such thing as a ugly win at this point of the season. So phenomenal job there by Oklahoma. Do not move up in the polls by getting that victory, but keep their playoff hopes alive. Checking in at number 11, down 3 spots, we find the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And folks, NC State laid a trap for Georgia Tech, and boy, did they snag them in this contest, 48-36. Haynes King, again, almost 500 yards of total offense, but he is not the player of the game. Jay Scott for NC State, 24 carries, 196 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown. Gotta love that kind of gritty, gutty performance there by your tailback. And putting up both 24 points in the first half and the second half lets me know that Georgia Tech did not make any of the necessary adjustments to get a victory in this contest. Let's move inside of the top 10, and that's where we will find the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And folks, this game was a little bit dicey there in the first half as Texas Tech went into the halftime up 12-7, but 31-13 in the second half. They were able to get margin and easily covered that point spread, 43-20. Byron Morton, 21 of 32, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns. Phenomenal job there for Texas Tech in this contest, up 5 spots from last week. Coming in at number 9 and down just 2 spots is the Vanderbilt Commodores, off of a very hard-fought loss there in Austin to the Longhorns. Vanderbilt really got behind the scoreboard early in that contest, as they just could not find any semblance of an offense. Really got hit over the head very early in that contest, and just credit Vandy for fighting back in this contest, but just not enough for Vandy to secure a victory in this contest. So Diego Pavia, 27 for 38, 365, 3 touchdowns. But player of the game, I'm going to go with Arch Manning. The young man went 25 for 33, 328 yards, almost 10 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, no INTs. Took care of the ball, played phenomenal, got the lead, and just did enough to hold on to get the victory there for the Vols. As far as Vandy goes, with 2 losses now, a third loss, and their playoff hopes are dashed. Speaking of the Longhorns, they check in at number 8. So, again, like I said, player of the game, Arch Manning, for the phenomenal job that he did. Up 6 spots is the Texas Longhorns. Texas, no time to celebrate, certainly no time to pat yourselves on the back, as your future will decide here over the next month. You cannot afford another loss if you have any aspirations of making the college football playoffs. Checking in at number 7, up 2 spots, is BYU. And the Cougars just continue to look outstanding off of their bye, and they have a long way of settling the Big 12 championship, as they're right in the thick of things, and will look to continue their winning ways as we enter the Showcase Showdown month of November. Checking in at number 6, down 1 spot this week, is the Georgia Bulldogs. World's largest outdoor cocktail party, the Gators, again in the second half, the Bulldogs in the second half do enough to get the victory, outscoring the Gators 14-10 in the second half. And some controversial calls, some bad decision making there by the interim head coach of the Gators. And credit to Kirby Smart and his team for getting the job done and getting the victory. Player of the game, I'm going to go with Gunnar Stockton, 20 for 29, 223 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. And like I said, again, did enough to absolutely warrant getting that victory. So hard-fought victory there for the Bulldogs as they move their record to 7-1, 5-1 in conference play. Sitting on the outside looking in, so need some help for them if they have any hopes of getting to Atlanta to play in the SEC championship game. Checking in at number 5, that is where we find my good friend Amber and the rest of the Buckeye Nation there. Ohio State up 1 spot as they were able to leapfrog the Bulldogs there with a 38-14 win over Penn State. The Buckeyes run their record to 8-0, 5-0 in conference play. And again, as I said, nothing within Ohio State's control that is keeping them outside of the top 3. It's this win over Penn State in preseason would have been maybe a top 10 win, possibly even a top 5 win. Now does not even rank as a quality win, as Penn State now 3-5, 0-5 in Big Ten play. So Buckeyes don't really get credit for that win per se, but some other metrics that we do look at was able to push the Buckeyes in front of the Georgia Bulldogs. So as I mentioned, if you're inside of that top 5, there's an excellent chance that you're going to get one of those first round buys that goes to the top 4 seeds because we're not seeding them by conference championship. It's just a straight seeding. So whether you're 1 or 4 doesn't really matter. You're going to get that much needed bye there. Speaking of a team that's off of their bye, is our number 4 team, and down 2 spots this week is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Tide were our number 2 team last week on a bye. Nothing that the Tide did on their bye week that caused them to go down. It is what the team that is going to be coming up here shortly did that moves them in front of the Crimson Tide this week. But Alabama, a game against LSU on Saturday evening, and we'll talk about more of that later on in the show. Checking in at number 3, once again, not moving up or down, is America's team, the Indiana Hoosiers. Folks, our data wanted to play around, and it definitely found out as our data said that the right side was taking Maryland, as this might have been a look-ahead spot for America's head coach and Curt Cignetti. Indiana was hearing none of that. Up 20-3 going into the half, and coming out of halftime, 35-7. Indiana, to quote one of my favorite wrestlers right now in Jacob Fatu, they are all gas and no brakes with it. Indiana is not messing around, and folks, you better stop looking at this helmet and thinking that this is the Indiana from 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. There's a new sheriff in town. That is America's coach, and that's why the Indiana Hoosiers are America's team. Checking in at number 2, and this is why Alabama moved down 2 spots. It is because the team that was number 4 last week in the Ole Miss Rebels, Hotty Toddy, moves up 2 spots, as they are now sitting in the number 2 spot off of a solid win there at home against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Ole Miss now runs their record to 8-1, and they are 5-1 in conference play. So Ole Miss doing a fantastic job this season. Lane Kiffin called a very strategic game there, and really just did enough to get the victory. And as I say, that is not a criticism for any of these teams right now. It is, you're not going to have your A game each and every week. So getting the victory by any means necessary, phrase that we used to say is by hook or by crook. Ole Miss is doing the job that they need to do. And as we mentioned, Ole Miss is one of the 3 teams that we've already said can punch their ticket into the college football playoff with Ohio State and Indiana. I think are firmly in. And after the results of this coming Saturday, we could see another 3 teams punching their tickets as far as our predictive model goes. So fantastic job by Coach Kiffin and his team there. I'm going to give a shout out in this contest to the running back Lacey for Ole Miss. 24 carries, 167 yards, did have a rushing touchdown. Like I said, phenomenal job there by Coach Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels. And once again, coming in at number 1, and folks, this has been a very recurring theme. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and book it right now. If Texas A&M gets a win this weekend, the Aggies can go ahead and punch their ticket as they're coming off of their bye. As I mentioned, they have a big-time showcase showdown with the Missouri Tigers coming up this weekend. And I think that could be a very important game, not only to the SEC championship race, but also the college football playoff ranking. So definitely a game that we're going to be looking forward to. Going to toss it to our mailbag really quickly. And as always, love your questions and love your interaction, whether it's on our YouTube channel or our Twitter handle. So keep sending those questions in. First question was, why is Texas with 2 losses able to jump 6 spots into the top 10? Because they just beat a team that was in the top 10 and still sits there in Vanderbilt. Also getting aided by Ohio State being undefeated and ranked as high as they are. So that is something that is absolutely benefiting Texas there as far as the rankings go. And when you look at the Buckeye schedule, let's not forget that win over San Jose State, kind of looking a little bit better now. So Longhorns doing I'm sorry, not San Diego State. I was looking at a different line there. So what's benefiting Texas also was the win by Oklahoma. That absolutely helps. And then having Georgia on the schedule with A&M boosts up that strength of schedule ranking there. So that's why Texas was able to move up 6 spots into the top 10. Question number 2. The group of 6 bid isn't a lock for the champion of the American to come out. Absolutely. And I touched on that as I mentioned. James Madison is not really going to go away. And if James Madison continues to take care of business, they are going to be in the conversation of making the college football playoff. So we'll see if the Dukes can continue to win. And if they are, they could absolutely throw their hat in the ring as far as making the college football playoffs. What was my biggest surprise about this week's rankings? Honestly, I got a couple of them. One, that the Miami Hurricanes are still ranked as one of them. They did fall 13 spots. I thought that there was a chance with the data that they could have fell a little bit more. But when I consider that Notre Dame is on their schedule, beating a solid Notre Dame team, I won't go against the data too much on that. Now, just to kind of give you a idea of the separation between Memphis and James Madison, as far as our data goes, I'm just trying to see what is the point differential between the two. You're looking at 0.37 difference between Memphis and James Madison. So that's why I said it is not a lock that the winner of that conference will absolutely make the college football playoff. So bear that in mind there as you see Memphis and North Texas sandwiched in between those two teams is James Madison. So keep an eye on the James Madison Duke here for the remaining part of the season. And I did just get text one other message, and that is who is outside of the top 25 right now with a win could find themselves entering our top 25. Fantastic question there. Right now, sitting at number 26 is the Aztecs of San Diego State. They are barely outside of it. And if I look at the difference between them and Southern Cal, that came in at number 24, 0.04 separation there. So San Diego State also in that running for the group of 6 bid there. So keep that in mind as we continue on there. So San Diego State sits there barely outside of the top 25, but could absolutely find their way into the top 25 for us next week. Want to say thank you to my fantastic team that is already getting the legwork done for our Week 11 Big Show podcast. As I mentioned, we'll see how the rankings go on Tuesday night. If we see something to where it is completely out of line with what we're looking at, we'll jump on live on both YouTube and Twitter and just do a live reaction show there. So on behalf of my fantastic team, the Young Guns, Billy, Jessica, Summer, Tina, all of you guys do a great job. My host for the college football Crunch Time Top 25 rankings, Jessica, do a fantastic job as she will get ready to do her breakdown this weekend and then travel to the game that she's going to be covering. I think Jessica may find her way into Big Ten country there. We'll have to check her schedule. But again, check out the website, crunchtimesportsadvantage.com. You can listen to us on all of your favorite podcast platform. And we will see you on the big show coming up on Friday. But as always, enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe. And as always, God bless everybody.